Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. With many roster mania questions remaining in the air, Crimsix is talking about how his offseason went down with regard to Envoy. They were potentially going to team up on Los Angeles Guerrillas. Envoy decided to sketch on Crimsix as he describes, potentially because the optic juice was simply too much to handle. Very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting that like button is the best thing you can do to help this channel reach more people. And please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Bottom right hand corner, you guys know the drill. Firstly, this from Juki's what I need in my life. Again, no cat little montage that comes out right here, kind of nice between Scraps and Waskin. Their highlights over the couple of years of them, of course, teaming together. Scraps says in reply, Vanguard season, potentially something's going on here. We kind of heard rumors maybe that Scraps and Waskin were thinking about teaming up again in challenges for this season. Hopefully that'll be the case. It'd be cool to see them back in business. And well, if they can do well in challenges, if expansion comes in next year, that could be a perfect opportunity. But it's just tough for a lot of these guys in challenges who are kind of grinding with the hope of getting into the Pro League. It's going to be so tough for the guys that have kind of been there before, done it before, but aren't necessarily going to get picked up because teams want to take chance on younger talent, and the only real chances they have are when new teams come in and expansion comes in, which of course is by no means guaranteed, right? But this would be cool to see nonetheless. This also from Machilla I thought was very promising. Free agent for challenges, he says, no time for BS this year. This is like the classic Machilla tweet he does at the start of every season. But the other one that he did, which I thought was interesting, LAN rumor sounds fantastic. So many players that will be exposed. Now I imagine what he's discussing here is the possibility of LANs coming back for actually for the challenger side. Now, if they're doing LANs for challenges, which of course is, mostly done online, but it would be good to see some LAN events happen, like at the start of Modern Warfare, when it's obviously a pretty big deal, and also pros are going to pay more attention to the challengers players than they might want to pick up if they've done things on LAN rather than just doing online. But if these rumors are in fact the case, that some of these challenger tournaments are going to be going down on LAN, then certainly you'd imagine the Pro League, I'm sure the main Pro League tournaments would be on LAN anyway, but with any luck, pretty much everything in the Pro League will be done on LAN, which would be a massive positive. But if they're thinking about it for challenges, you'd think they've probably got things sorted out to a pretty great degree for the regular pro side of things. These also from Breaking Point, the 16th and 15th players of the season weighing into the top 20. That's going to be Kenny. And look at all these stats right here. Pretty solid season on the whole. Obviously the results not exactly great, but I just love the way they put all this down. Featured statistics I think is always nice to look at. Record damage and hardpoint, record damage and search and destroy. That's pretty impressive on the course of the season. Average engagements in hardpoint is absolutely absurd. Record damage and control as well. There's no way he holds all the records unless that's his personal record or something. But anyway, all these numbers are absolutely insane. So fair play to Kenny. 15th place goes to Asim, who I think was very solid this year. I'm not sure I quite put him this high, but I think still a relatively solid season from him overall. Totally understandable why he's got a spot on hopefully a good team in Los Angeles Guerrillas for next year. Unfortunately, the visa stuff that he missed the stage 4 major, that was difficult, but I thought these stats were kind of interesting. S&D KD and wins are 1.42. Record kills in control at 39. I'm pretty sure the actual, the overall record is 43 from Clayster, so this must just be his personal record, so that's the same thing for Kenny. And also there's a 1.46 S&D KD against Ultra. Against, he's from Toronto, or he's from Canada, so kind of funny that he knows his own breathroom, let's just say. This also wanted to mention because all these tweets have an article associated with him, and the article goes into great detail. Mack's done a fantastic job breaking down everything, even looking against them, the stats against the top 3 teams, for example. So how good are they against the top competition? How good are they just farming stats against the lower tier teams? Some really interesting stuff. So wanted to give a shout out to that. But let's move on to this then. So Crimsix says this, of course, on the 28th of August, on probably the craziest day of COD ever. Mostly the 28th or the 29th, or maybe it was the 29th, when Crimsix got dropped the previous day. Then Envoy got dropped basically the same day, and then Formal retired later in the day. It was absolute chaos. But anyway, Crimsix restricted free agent for 2022, he said at the time. And later the same day, we got Envoy saying the same thing, unrestricted free agent for the 2022 CDL season. So of course, the rumors were kind of going around at the time when this happened. Okay, are Crim and Envoy going to team up for some sort of revenge tour? Would that make sense? Of course, Crimsix versus Optic, that's always a fun one. Envoy, of course, moving on from Optic, maybe he was looking for some sort of revenge. And anyway, maybe Crim and Envoy could have been a good duo. Now, we heard a while ago now that actually wasn't out of the question, right? There was some discussion from Kenny that there was a team of Slasher, Crimsix, Envoy, and Kenny that was possibly being rumored over at LAG. So Slasher and Crim were kind of keen to team up. They wanted to get Envoy in. They were trying to get Kenny in as well as their SMG. That might not have worked. Then they tried to get maybe other people in as well. There was considerations for Vivid. But anyway, Envoy was certainly been talked to by Crimsix to try and maybe get him to go to Los Angeles Guerrillas. But Crimsix has some pretty interesting things to say on exactly why Envoy decided in the end to go to Los Angeles Thieves and go down that route. Not necessarily because it was the best team possible, but mainly because he was on Optic last year and once you get a taste of the juice, at least this is how I interpret it, once you get a taste of the Optic juice and the Optic kind kind of social media gas, you kind of want to stay within an organization of that caliber.
I mean, the list became shorter once a lot of people were like, I'm staying on our team, right? So, like, you look at them right already. It's like FaZe, you're not getting any of them. Minnesota decided they were sticking together. You're not getting any of them. You know, Dallas, we knew who was staying.
Yeah.
Yada, yada. So you kind of, like, realize, all right, there's not a ton available, like, that are top tier, right? Like, that I consider up there on the level of the top sub duos, right? And so we immediately hit up Envoy, obviously, trying to make that happen. And I think he wanted a more secure team because right at the time we didn't really have a fully rounded out roster at all. And so,
Envoy sipped a little bit of juice and liked the flavor.
No. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Tyler, Vivid.
He's just only sketched me twice.
Damn.
I'm going mobile though. Yo, move me.
All right, bro. Jesus Christ, bro. He doesn't even know what he wants.
I really like Drazah. I think Drazah's really good at what he does as a flex player. I think he's one of the few true flexes like that are of the new crop that are kind of coming up.
Yeah.
You know, like before Porter was like I didn't even know Porter was coming. I didn't know if Paco was staying or Nap or who. Like I was still just trying to look at all the players, right?
So I thought this is kind of an interesting comment, right? Because we know that Crimsix, he's experienced that before himself, right? He's experienced the fact that he's on Optic, he's streaming to 5,000 people. He leaves Optic and all of a sudden he's got like 1,000 viewers or whatever, and he's getting all the hate on the timeline. That's just how things tend to go. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of interesting for Envoy in a way that like I think his streams have kind of like, I mean, just the numbers when you're an Optic compared to when you're not an Optic is kind of crazy to think about. But kind of interesting what Crimsix is implying here, that maybe Envoy kind of he kind of said that he sketched on Crimsix a couple of times now. Like he was trying to form a roster and then Envoy goes another direction. And maybe Crimsix thinks, like, maybe Envoy is not fully concerned with forming the best team possible. That maybe Crimsix thought he had a pretty damn good team there, was potentially going to be LAG, even though maybe they wanted to go down another route, because of course there was like the Huke question mark and stuff like that as well, getting thrown into the picture. But maybe Crim's kind of thinking, look, Envoy turned down what could have been maybe even a better opportunity to decide instead to go to Los Angeles Thieves, under 100 Thieves, a bigger organization, a bigger brand. But at the same time, I think Envoy probably thinks of the team that he does have over there, Octane, Drazah, Kenny, and himself, is also pretty damn good compared to the team that could have been Crimsix and Slasher and Co. Because at the end of the day, Crim and Slasher and Co, like it's going to be a bit sketchy, right? You never know if the team's going to completely explode or whether personalities are going to work with each other properly. It's a bit of a question mark. And at the same time, you also get the benefits of being in Los Angeles Thieves and 100 Thieves as the wider organization and the potential that does potentially bring going forwards. I think for this season, it also brings additional benefits because it seems Los Angeles Thieves are going to be based out of LA in the compound with all the content going on with the other, personalities. So you've got more opportunity for exposure in that sense. So, maybe Envoy's made a smart tactical move here, being like, okay, yeah, I know what the Optic juice is kind of like. Let's keep that as much as I possibly can. Maybe Crimsix is thinking, okay, if this guy didn't sketch on me, we could have formed a good roster. But maybe it'll happen in future seasons. Who really knows? Of course, at this one, they confirm it. Kenny, Octane, Drazah, and Envoy back in September now. But, still some other confirmations still to happen for this season. I thought this is funny from the flank. Certainly some talk about Optic Dallas and what that means. And Illy's Barber yesterday hitting the leak on the timeline. And, there's just the fade into the cut, right? It would be kind of funny if this is how they leaked it instead of doing the thing where he dropped the, the ats in the replies and whatever. This I thought also from CDL stats was kind of interesting. aBeZy earned from tournaments over 1 million now. aBeZy's earned from tourneys. Just remarkable. Longest teammate being Simp for 20 events he's played with Simp for, which already is a very impressive figure. 8 major event wins, 2 rings, and of course, 16 events with Atlanta FaZe. So played with FaZe for 16 events, all with Simp. Played for 4 events with Simp before that on United, and of course, currently for FaZe. There was some hot takes going around on the Reddit thinking, okay, what happens this year with FaZe? Like, what if they're not as dominant? What does it take for FaZe to have to break up? Like, how bad do FaZe have to be? Like, how often do they have to get destroyed to actually make this team break up? Because this team, I'm sure, like, given the success they've had, they don't want to be breaking up at all. But it's like, if they lose one tournament, they're not going to break up. How many tournaments does it take for them to lose? Like, where do they have to be in terms of, like, the power rankings for this team to actually decide to split? Because it'll happen eventually, but, I guess, how long will it be? That remains to be seen. And just to finish off with this that was going around on the timeline a couple of days ago as well, from Ethan Spencer from back in 2018. This is during the World War War II season. But and of course, Vanguard just around the corner, based in a similar era. But this is a really funny clip that got a lot of traction at the time with Maven and Merc. I mean, it's just good fun, to be honest. I love this camera angle they have. I wish they kind of brought this back nowadays in the CDL as opposed to the CWL. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button tells the YouTube overlords this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you much as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.
You know, I mean, you've been in that position before where you're just getting, you know, pounded for like an entire first half. It's got to be super frustrating.
Yeah, definitely so. We'll see how they can bounce back. There we go.
Couple opening kills. Here we go. Back and forth. Felony. Oh, not able to take that. Methods. Gonna get the... Oh, Joe, we're having too much fun today, buddy. Sorry, we had Revan dancing off to the side. He's very distracting. Revan, we love you, buddy. But Optic, taking it to him here in the opening moments. Only 2 up right now for E United. Crimsix able to get the... Joe, you gotta stop laughing. And Revan, I swear, if you come over here again. Flag is out, though. Crimsix has got it.